So now we'll begin the Z-axis assembly. For step 1, I'll gather the tools needed, which will be the needle nose pliers and then the 2.5 millimeter Allen key. For step 2, I'll gather the parts. I have 6 of the M3 by 10 screws, and then I have the right side Z-axis holder and then the Z-axis bottom left holder. How do I know if they're left and right? Well, thank God that somebody printed an R and an L to help me with that. So what I'll do is I'll attach these to the frame. I'm going to bring this around here. You can see this is the front because here's the Prusa logo. I want to be careful and put these exactly where they should be. I'll follow the instructions that are in the manual. I'm going to put the left over here on this side and the right over here. You'll notice these 3 screw holes. I'll go ahead and attach that on this side, and then I will attach this one on this side using the screws. So we have put on the Z-axis holders. We'll move on to step 3. For step 3, we need the Z-axis motors. There's a left and a right. You can tell them apart by the different size cables from them. The longer will be on the right, the shorter will be on the left. Also, it doesn't hurt to check and see how each one is labeled. So we know this is the right, we know this is the left. There are some trapezoidal nuts. We're going to remove those. Be sure to hold on to them. They will be used later. And then the next step will be to put Z screw covers on both. So here are my Z screw covers. Hopefully you can see these little ones. And I'm going to go ahead and tread these all the way down. So putting on the Z screw covers was a little trickier than advertised. I was just spinning. I actually couldn't turn them with my fingers, so I got out some work gloves. If I hold the shaft, I can easily screw that down. Now, when I put the Z screw covers on, they should be all the way down to the motor, screwed fully, but we don't want it too tight because we do want the motor to still spin freely. For step 4, I will need 8 of these M3 by 10 screws. I'm going to go ahead and affix the motors, or put them here. This is the right size motor. Remember the side with Prusa, with the Prusa logo is the front. So I'm going to put this inside here. What do I do with the cable? Well, I want the cable oriented towards me. You'll notice on both sides there's a little divot where the cable can go under. Let me just slide this through. And now that I have this here, I can go ahead and screw it in from the top. I'm going to do this for both sides. Again, with the cables underneath in this little area, and I'm screwing them on the top. For step 5, I've gathered all of the pieces that I'm going to need. I have my trapezoidal nuts. I have the little M3N nuts, and then I have the M3 by 18 screws. Part 1 of this step is to place the nuts into the X-axis that we built earlier. I'm going to put my glasses on, and I want to show you where I'm going to be placing them. So on this end, you can see there's a hole here, or a hexagonal hole for one of the nuts. And then back here, and let me grab something to point that out, I'm going to slide a nut in there. On this side, again, there's a hexagonal hole. And then here, there is a slot to put the nut in. Reading online, other users recommended the screw pulling technique if you're having any difficulty. I'm going to put this down and put my nuts in. So I've gone ahead and put in the nuts. You can see them back there perhaps, and then also here on the top. Now for step 6, the second part of the trapezoidal nuts, what I want to do is put the Z-axis down with the motor down. You can see this orientation. I'll take my trapezoidal nuts and they're going to go in these 2 slots. And I will use my M3x18 screws to affix them. For step 7, we are going to put the X-axis on, but we do need the remaining 2 smooth rods. Those are going to go down. So Erica is going to put the camera down and help me put these on. So Erica and I we've placed the X-axis on, and we are going to spin these rods. And am I spinning in the correct direction? No, I'm not. Okay, now I'm spinning in the correct direction. One thing that I should note, the motor is on this side, and that's the side with the Prusa logo. We're going to continue to come down. We want to come down so that this rod is parallel with the frame. Just a little bit more. And right about there. And does it look about the same here? Okay. And then, let's see, I'm being instructed that this side is not looking as copacetic. Now it's fine, okay. Then I'll take my smooth rods and I am going to very carefully place them in each side through the bearings. So far we haven't had any bearing loss. Remember that the instructions will always say that, you know, if we lose 1 or 2, not a big deal. Anything beyond that, it's more of a big deal. The pieces or the parts will need to be replaced. Get this one in here. Oh, a little piece of something, plastic or such fell. All right, so those are resting and seated very nicely. I heard the faintest of sounds and I did lose 1 bearing. Thank God it's only 1. For step 8, I'm simply gathering pieces, 4 of the M3x10 screws, and then I want the Z-axis top left and top right. I'm going to start with I said this is actually top left. Let me start with the top left side. I'm going to come over here and let me bring 1 screw with me. All right. You'll see 2 holes. I want to align that with the rod, and I'm going to place it over the rod and fit it to the holes in the back. You can see holes on the right side not blocked. There's the same thing here on the left. And I'll go ahead and screw that in. When I'm done screwing that in, I'll go ahead and repeat the process on the right side with the right top piece. Steps 10 and 11. Step 10, we can go ahead and celebrate with approximately 10% of our gummy bears. So that's 4, 2 each. And then step 11 is just to show you the parts assembled. And we just always make sure that this matches what we see both in the manual and then also what we're seeing online on the Prusa site. Yeah, the yellow one touched the ground. Cut!